Hello. The Boocast synth of the month is the Behringer Kobol Expander. In 1978, French company RSF released the Kobol, a two-oscillator monosynth, which was very much seen as an inexpensive alternative to the Minimoog. And indeed, it shares waveforms, filter types, and envelopes with that legendary instrument, though its continuously sweepable oscillator waveforms were pretty unique for the time. After the keyboard came the rack units, Expander 1, which was the synth heart of the Kobol, Expander 2, giving additional processing such as ring mod and sample and hold, a programmer module for storing patches and sequencing, and finally an 8-channel mixer rack. The Expander 1, often referred to as the Kobol Expander, like the ARP 2600, can be played without patching, but internal connections can be broken and reconfigured by the addition of patch leads. Notable users included Jean-Michel Jarre, Vince Clarke, Peter Gabriel, Vangelis, Hans Zimmer, and Depeche Mode. Being a small company, RSF built fewer than 200 Kobol keyboards, around 800 Kobol expanders, 200 Expander 2s, 200 programmers, and only a handful of the mixers. This makes them all quite rare, and therefore rather pricey. Behringer came to the rescue in 2023, releasing their version of the Kobol Expander, and at time of recording, it can be had for under £150. An incredible price for such a fully featured synth. Surely corners have been cut. Let's find out. Well, here it is, the Behringer Kobol Expander, and I'll just undress the little baby for a second. So we've only had this for a little while, and I don't really know it very well. And the original Kobol Expanders were pretty rare. Of course, they were used by Depeche Mode quite a lot, and there's something nice about the fact that this has re-entered the world. So let's have a look at it. All of the modules inside the Kobol Expander from Behringer are analog, apparently. So the LFO is analog. We get a rate of, well, let's just attach it to something. Oscillator 2. Let's bring up the filter. And we adjust the amount of audio modulation of the oscillators with this volume knob, unusually. So here we go. So it goes pretty slow. Up to 100 Hertz. There are other ways of increasing the speed of the LFO. We'll come to later, hopefully. So it's one LFO. We get two waveforms. We've got a triangle and square. Let's lower that. And that's unipolar square, so it's easy to tune. There we go. We can also switch it from modulating both oscillators. So we're modulating oscillator 1 and oscillator 2. But we can switch it so that it's only modulating oscillator 2. Pretty useful. Especially with all the other stuff going on, which we're going to come to, obviously. There's a voltage processor, which we'll come to. This is very similar to the thing that you get on the ARP 2600. It can process control voltage and audio. Yes, next. So, okay, the oscillators are really interesting because although it was said that this is the sort of French cut-rent version of the Minimoog, it does have a couple of interesting features. So this is the first of them. The oscillators are continuously sweepable through the waveform. So we start with a triangle. bring it up a bit. And we can, whoops, go through to Sharktooth. Now there's a Mini Moog waveform if ever you saw one or heard one. And it's nice to be able to control that. In fact, yeah. And sweeping through to the saw. What's that? Sort of half. I can't remember what that waveform might be called, and I can't actually see it. You know, it's really annoying. I can't see over the knobs. It's that way, sort of saw square thing. Square pulse, narrow pulse, and then you click onto the end, and we've got pulse width modulation coming from the single LFO. Let's just switch it back to triangle. So there we go, we've got that kind of vibe going on. It's nice. And so we've got two identical oscillators. Let's bring up the other one. Oscillator 2 has very wide frequency. They both go into low frequency territory also, which is great because we can use Oscillator 2 to modulate Oscillator 1, and we can use Oscillator 1 to modulate Oscillator 2 if we like, but we've got a fine tune on Oscillator 2, which is always appreciated, and we can similarly sweep these through. Let's put an ARP on. So those are the oscillators. According to Wagyu and via Sonic State review with Nick Batt, these are not based on the chips. These are actually discrete oscillators. Quite a lot of this is actually discrete components, and they've really tried to emulate properly the behavior of this oscillator with the sweepable waveforms. Yeah, those are the oscillators. We've also got sync, with VCO2 being synced to VCO1. Sounds good. Right, onto the filter. I'll just put a little arpeggio thing here. So the filter is a 24 dB 4-pole filter. It's not a ladder filter. And it sounds pretty great actually. Let's bring up the resonance. Losing the low frequencies, as you'd expect with a 24 dB type filter. No compensation here. Okay, so that's it. Resonance coming through. We can also control the resonant frequency with keyboard control, which goes to 1. Let's just turn the oscillators off. Wow, that was easy. In real time, that's how long it took me to tune the filter to. Let's bring in an oscillator. Wow. That was really quick and easy. So something that the original Kobols had in their favor was that the oscillators were reported to be extremely stable, unlike some Mini Moog oscillators. They basically were bang on in tune. And that, from what I've read, is what is recreated here very accurately, and also the calibration of all these things, so that the fact that I just managed to tune the filter so quickly, even though I'm going for 1 volt per octave there in the middle, It's pretty impressive how stable this thing is. We can also go to 2 volts per octave, which is obviously way beyond an octave. Let's just play that. Tune it down. Nice. Okay, that's the filter. We've got this keyboard control. We've also got ADS control. So we have 2 ADS envelopes here. The ADS envelopes are very moogie. Let's bring up the oscillators again. So first we have an ADS envelope for the VCA. And yeah, the decay portion. Sustain level. So attack time, decay time, sustain level. If we flick this switch here, it gives us some release time, which is the decay portion. Exactly the same as the Mini Moog works. And the other envelope generator is hardwired to the filter, which we control from this knob here, so we can extremely snappy envelopes, really tight. Again, nicely a pleasing calibration here. Goes from really tight, lots of control, and we can got quite a long one there as well. So we can also have negative control. Let's bring that up. That's nice. Let's have some effects. Yeah. Very pleasing. Doesn't it have a vibe? I mean, it feels like a simple synth, but it's got a really pleasing, already, without patching anything up, pleasing quality. I guess we've been listening to this synth a lot on a lot of songs that we've loved over the years. We just never got to play it before, or I didn't, and maybe you did. Who knows? I mean, in fact, has anyone out there got both? Does it compare? Does it? I don't know. I have no idea. This is literally just me. Again, it's one of those synth of the months where I'm just acting like I've just walked into a synth shop and I'm having a play with it. So that's what we're doing. So there you go. So it's a good, solid, simple basis for a synth. Now you can see here that we've only got one LFO. There's no sample and hold. There's no ring mod. There's all kinds of things we don't have. Probably would have been advisable at the time to buy the Kobol, the Expander 2, which would give you extra modulation possibilities. But this is the thing about the Kobol Expander 1, as it was. The striking part of this synth is that literally every control, I mean, I think it's literally every single one, is voltage controllable. And this affords us with so many possibilities of what to do. We can take oscillator 2 frequency, take the input into there, and take the ADS2 out. Put it onto sync. That's really, my God. That's really, let's go. Sounds old, I like it. The signal coming out from the envelope is a little bit hot, so we can make use of the voltage processor. So we can come in here and take the output from there and plug that into the frequency control. Now this gives us control over the amount of gain that that control voltage is having. So we can go from 0 up to 2, and we can also go from 0 up to 2 on the second input 2, which I think sort of multiplies things by 4, although they don't quite make it as far as that according to the manual, but close. So let's see. Yeah, you can hear that now. So we're going way beyond how much you want, but... Whoa, too low. Bit of fun there. So yeah, that's obvious. But the fact that we can modulate just about everything here is quite sort of traumatizing a little bit. Most excitingly for me is that we've got modulatable envelope stages, so we can take the decay time. Let's take a signal out. Well, let's take the single LFO, and we'll take it out from here. No. Yes. Here. So if I give us some... Let's just do the... So now the decay portion is being modulated. Which I rather like. But we can do something else here. So let's take the LFO signal, put it into the voltage processor. We can now take the output from the voltage processor and put it into the decay, which gives us level. Gives us an amount that we can select how much that's affecting it now. Quite easy to develop these rhythmic little things here. The voltage processor also has this rev out, which gives you the reverse signal from that one. So we can take that and let's plug it into takt time. Hear that? So we're getting sort of flipping backwards and forwards of the envelopes here. It would actually be really nice to make drum sounds on this, I think. Let's have a little go. So apparently the resonance of the original went down to something like 30 hertz, and they've extended it on the Behringer one. It goes down even lower. So it goes. My goodness, the filter goes really low. That's pretty impressive. The resonance coming back at that low frequency it outperforms the Mini Moog in terms of, like, if you wanted to have like massive kick drums, for example. Turn that off. Excellent. Yeah, rather impressive. So there's a whole bunch of other things. It's just inviting you. Something that would be nice is some external voltage control. I'm not going to do that this time. I just want to see what we can get out of just this module on its own. So yeah, we've got noise generator, which goes white to pink. It's a slightly different design to the original. The original used a chip which apparently had 17 stages and was a bit sort of, you could hear the looping of it. And then this one's a bit more noisy. Take the noise generator noise out, and we can put it into the input again. And we can take our LFO out, and we can put it into input 2. So we can mix the two signals. So we can take the output and modulate the frequency of VCO2. So let's hear that. Got really nice bit of noisy modulation there. Take a little bit less. Oh, that's nice. These level knobs, I don't think are modulatable. Haha! Found a limitation, because that'd be good too. Maybe it is, I don't know. Can't tell at the moment, we're just in the music shop, remember. So yeah, loads of modulation possibilities here. Another thing that we can modulate is the waveform sweeping. So we can take the LFO out from that. And as we scroll through, it's taking a different section. Slow that down. And just turn that off and so now we've got pulse width modulation coming directly from the LFO, and the LFO sweeping the waveform of Oscillator 2, giving us quite a pleasing Doctor Who-y type sound. Let's put that into sync. So again, more rhythmic possibilities coming through here. Let's put a little sequence in here and have a little play for a second. So the LFO goes up to 100 Hertz. We can speed it up a little bit by taking the output from here and plugging it into the LFO rate. This is a control voltage input, not a clock input. Hello. It's really slow. Reverse out. It might help if the LFO was doing something. Ah, there we go. That's faster. Pleasing. Let's see if we can take a control voltage output from the key step and control the frequency of the LFO with that. Let's give the amount. It goes faster low down. That's okay. Let's go in and take the reverse out. That's really strange. It sort of goes, the higher the control voltage, the slower the LFO goes, which is Tell you what, let's take the LFO out and plug it into the VCF audio in. That's not doing anything. Why is that? Okay, it doesn't go very high. That's the LFO. Okay, so as an audio source, it's quite limited. But there you go, that's, if you wanted them, 3 oscillator sources. It's very hard to control. Let's plug that into the VCF frequency input. I say that is pleasing. Let's just turn that up a bit. So there we go, we've got the pitch of the LFO being controlled by the control voltage output of the key step. The control voltage of the key step's going through the inversion unit on the voltage processor, and we're taking the LFO out and just modulating the VCF with it. Making this... That's a great sound. Tuning that oscillator to the pitch of the LFO, which is modulating the filter. Loads of just fat, juicy, clangorous madness. It's just... Change the LFO to square wave. It's great. Also, all this modulation stuff's lovely. I haven't actually done enough. Or have I done enough? Have I done too much? Let's see. I'm going to take the output from here and plug it into the waveform model molding. There's so much going on now. I can't actually see what I've just done. Okay, so the realms of subtlety have been lost to me for a second. Let's have a last little play with this thing. So, as I say, I'm just in the shop. I mean, I'm a little bit boggled. There's so much that could be done here. And I'm at control voltage, 1 volt. I mean, you can take signals from outside and put them in. You can take signals from inside and push them out. All the envelopes are externally sendable. All the oscillators are externally sendable. The LFO is. I mean, yeah. I mean, it leaves you wanting more modulation sources, which is a good thing, right? Anyway, let's let's leave it for the moment. I like this, and this is my first ever, well, second play on a Behringer synth, and I think I've done a good job. It's shall we say, a convincing replica of something I've never played before, although I've almost certainly heard it a million times before, and it's given me that vibe. So just looking for the last time across the front panel, I mean, there's so many ins and outs. I mean, what would you do? What suggestions do you have? What could be plugged into what? Maybe write it in the comments, that'd be nice to see. I'm even looking at it now, I'm thinking, oh, I missed that, I missed so much. But it was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it too. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.